before I jump into my talk, I thought I'd start with a brief introduction to me and my role. So as mentioned, my name is Humphry and I've been at Hymans for just over 10 years now. And my current role is as a digital proposition lead to one of our business units. So the digital proposition lead role, or DPL for short, is all about helping the business make best use of technology and analytics in the delivery of services to clients and customers. So in essence, I act as a bridge between our business leaders and digital teams and know just enough about both to be able to bring together the real experts to solve some of our difficult business problems. As a timeline on the slide suggests, I've taken a somewhat long-winded route to working in the digital and data space. So I graduated with a degree in computer science and artificial intelligence back in 2011, but took a detour into the actuarial career where I worked for a number of years before gravitating back towards more of a modeling data and analytics type role that I'm in now. So I'm a big advocate for zigzag careers for anyone out there who might be on a similarly varied career path. That's enough about me. Onto my talk for today. And as mentioned, the aim is really to share the experience of starting out on a data and analytics journey and some of the key lessons that we've learned along the way. The image on the slide might suggest it has been plain sailing on this journey, although at times it's probably felt a bit more like this. But joking aside, challenges are all part of the journey, and hopefully by sharing some of our experiences, you can learn something too. It's probably helpful for me to explain a little bit about the business area I work within to give you some context for what I'm going to talk through. So the area I work within is our pensions administration business unit. And in a nutshell, what they do is manage the day-to-day activities involved in running a pension scheme on behalf of our clients. So for those of you that are employed, the chances are you're enrolled in your employer's pension scheme and do things like pay in contributions, receive periodic statements and newsletters about your pension. And for anyone lucky enough to be approaching retirement, you'll be getting more information about the options and how you can take your pension. So all these services described need to be provided in relation to a pension scheme, but the chances are your employer won't do this themselves. Instead, they'll outsource this to a third-party administrator, and that's where firms like Hyman step in. So the way our admin business works is that we're appointed by companies to manage their pension scheme, i.e. it's the company that is our client, but we actually provide the services directly to end consumers, in this case, pension scheme members. So in that sense, pensions admin is more akin to working in the retail space like banking and insurance rather than the business-to-business space like many other parts of our firm. And if you're thinking, why are you only just embarking on data and analytics now? Haven't areas like banking and insurance embraced this for quite some time? And yes, it's true that some parts of financial services are quite mature in their use of data and analytics. Pensions, on the other hand, has historically lagged behind as an industry, in part because of the lack of customer demand. People simply don't engage with or think about their pension in the same way as banking and insurance because pensions are that faraway thing that you just don't need to worry about right now. That being said, the transformation we've seen in banking in the last 10 years or so has shifted expectations about what consumers expect from other financial services. So we're starting to see pensions industry embrace technology and data much more rapidly. And that brings us nicely to where our data analytics journey begins, and that is with the launch of a new member web product that we released earlier this year. So the purpose of the web product is to enable members to self-serve online and enjoy the same anytime, anywhere service they're used to in banking, but also when it comes to managing their pension. And the web product is valuable, the web product is valuable to us as a business because one, a market-leading product helps us win more clients, but two, if members can self-serve online, it means our skilled administrators can focus their time and effort on the activities where the human touch best adds value. So the launch of our web product has been an important milestone in our business strategy, and it's natural that our business leaders ask the question, well, is our product successful? Is it delivering what our members want and need from it? And that's where data analytics has stepped in to enable us to answer these questions. So what's the first data question we tried to answer? Well, early on in the development of our website, we'd set some targets to have 50% of all our members registered online. So the first thing people naturally wanted to measure was, well, how are we doing against this target? That makes a lot of sense. If people aren't registered online, it's impossible for them to be getting what they need from our product. And we quickly saw that numbers were creeping up to 5%, 10%, 15%, and so on. And our initial thought was, success. The number of registered members is going up. That must mean we're doing something right. But then we had to stop and think, well, what does the percentage of registered members actually tell us? Yes, members are registering and logging on, but are they engaging with the site? Are they coming back time and time again? Are they completing tasks online? And this brings me to lesson number 1, avoid vanity metrics. So it's really easy to latch onto metrics that seem important at first, but don't actually tell you what you need to know. So in our example, if our goal is to have people using the web product to carry out routine tasks like updating their pension details or finding out what their retirement income might be, then we need to measure if they're actually completing these tasks and returning time and time again to do so. And finding the right metrics means we have to engage with the key business stakeholders to really understand what the business goals are and ensure we're measuring what matters. So once we've learned our first lesson, we know that we can't just measure the number of people registered online, but we actually have to go away and measure things like the number of members completing tasks. And one such task might be, well, are members using the website to get an estimate of their retirement income? So we can go away, collect this data, and see that around 10% of members are using this functionality in a given month. And again, our initial reaction is success. Members are using this, it must mean our product is working. But again, we have to stop and challenge ourselves to think, well, what does this really tell us? Yes, 10% of members might be checking out their estimated retirement income online, but are they getting what they need from this information? And fundamentally, does the increase in activity on the website coincide with a reduction in activity reaching our admin teams via other channels like the phone? And that brings me on to lesson number 2, pay attention to failure demand. So I'm not sure how many of you will have come across the concept of failure demand, but it's quite a key one in customer service industry, and it's summarized in the visual on the slide, which is taken from the Vanguard website. So failure demand is defined as demand caused by a failure to do something or do something right for the customer, i.e. it's when our customers don't receive the service they want or need, and so come back making further demands, consuming additional organization resources. And failure demand is in contrast to value demand, i.e. the demand that's a normal part of providing a service. So in our example, members looking to find out what their estimated retirement income is value demand. That's a normal part of providing pensions admin service. But when they pick up the phone afterwards to ask questions because they don't understand the information or they want something else, this is failure demand because we've failed to meet all of their needs. And not only does that mean we're providing a poor experience for our members, it's costly to us as a business too. So it's a lose-lose situation all round. And therefore, understanding and measuring failure demand has to be a key part of our business strategy and also a key part of our data and analytics strategy. So now that we've learned lesson 2, there is actually another key theme that comes out of the scenario I've just described. We've realized that we can't just analyze what's happening on our web product without looking at what's happening in the wider service delivery model. In other words, we have to connect the data about what's happening online with the data about what's happening through phone calls and other channels. And that brings me on to lesson number 3, build the right data architecture. So to be able to address failure demand and answer the really valuable business questions, we need a holistic view of what's happening across our business, rather than looking at things in silos. And this is where we bring in our data architects and data engineers who can design the right ecosystem and pipelines to integrate data across a number of different sources. And this is the foundation we need to be able to carry out omni-channel analysis and answer more sophisticated questions like, how is activity on the website changing activity in our call center? So now we've learned lesson 3 and started to put in place data infrastructure that enables us to hook up multiple data sources and build a rich source of information. So it's easy to fall into the trap and think, well, once we have all our data in one place, it's a simple task to unlock all sorts of meaningful insights from this. But making sense of such a large data source isn't straightforward, and you quickly find yourself drowning in the sheer volume of data. Which brings me on to lesson number 4. A picture is worth 1,000 words, or in our case, numbers. So having the data is one thing, but deriving meaning from data requires us to spot patterns in it that tell us a story. And this is where data visualization comes in, as it helps us convert data into insights. So coming back to our example, it may be difficult to figure out why some members manage just fine understanding their retirement income online, whilst others end up picking up the phone with questions. But a quick visualization of members against their age, for example, might highlight that it's the younger members who are struggling, perhaps because they don't have the same information or engagement with educational materials about their pension. This is obviously a really simple example of visualization, but there will be much more sophisticated insights we can draw. And of course, there are even more advanced ways of finding patterns in data, for example, using machine learning. For us, we're still at the early stages of the journey and learning to walk before we can run, so we're tapping into data visualization and business intelligence skills to unlock the value from our data. That being said, I'm keeping Harry on side with the hope we can tap into his data science experience once our analytics capabilities have matured and are ready for that. And at the end of lesson 4, we're probably feeling pretty smug about what we're able to achieve from our data and analytics and thinking, what's stopping us from using the insights we've gained to make informed decisions about our web product? But there is a crucial source of information that we've not thought about yet, which leads me on to lesson 5. It's not all about the numbers. So for anyone like me who's quite technically minded, it's easy to get distracted with all the quantifiable data and numbers and forget that at the source of all of this information are real people making real decisions about their real life. Whilst we might be able to use observed quantifiable data to make a sensible hypothesis about what's driving their behavior, the only way we can know for sure is to actually go out there and ask our customers directly. So lesson 5 is a reminder to incorporate user research into your data and analytics strategy and seek direct feedback to validate conclusions and enrich insights. So I've shared 5 key lessons on the journey, but before I wrap up, there is one final reflection I wanted to share, which is more about the how than the what of the journey. And that is to collaborate, learn, and have fun. So a key theme throughout the lessons I've just described is the importance of bringing together a range of people and skills, from data engineers to data visualization specialists, user researchers, and of course, the business stakeholders who define the purpose behind it all. And with anything new, there's a lot of experimentation and mistakes made along the way, but that's all part of learning and growing. So to some extent, you just have to embrace it. But if you manage to do these things, it turns out embarking on an analytics journey can be a lot of fun. And that's a good thing for me because we've still got some way to go, but I'm certainly enjoying the ride. So thanks for listening. I hope that's been interesting and useful for you. And